Right, 13 September 2020, and today I want to continue the discussion that I've been having on the ANC delegation that came to Zimbabwe. So what happened is that after Lindiwe Zulu came back to South Africa, she gave an interview to a radio station here in South Africa. And what she said is significantly different from what the ZANU-PF spokespersons said when they were talking yesterday at their press conference. That was Patrick Chinamasa and Simbarashe Mbengebwi. So there is a problem, and this problem is going to get very, very big. The problem is that ZANU-PF looks like they want to communicate that the ANC cannot come to Zimbabwe and meet the opposition. Whereas Lindiwe Zulu was very clear that the ANC is going to intervene in Zimbabwe. So she used the word intervene. And Patrick Chinamasa said ANC cannot intervene in Zimbabwe. Similarly, Mbengebwi said the ANC cannot intervene in Zimbabwe. I'm going to play you a number of videos that shows what these two parties are saying, which is very, very different. And the biggest issue we have, I'm going to point it out to you, is that the ANC does not want to come out and speak publicly. And I'm going to take you through first. So before I give my opinions, let me take you through what Lindiwe Zulu said. So I'm going to share my screen here and I'll show you what she said. And let's quickly go to my gambakwe.com. So if you look on this website, this is what the key points that she made on that interview, which was that the ANC delegation that went to Zimbabwe reports to the ANC NEC and not to Ramaphosa. So the first group that went reported to Ramaphosa, the envoys, Baleka Mbete and Sidney Mfamandi, they reported to Ramaphosa. This group reports to the ANC NEC. So she said this is not a time to mince words on what the crisis is about, as what is happening in Zimbabwe has a negative impact on South Africa. Number three, the ANC expressed that what is happening in Zimbabwe is not good for the ANC and it's not good for ZANU-PF. She repeated that the ANC, what is happening in Zimbabwe is having an impact in South Africa. And number five, the focus should not be on the past. So the past relationship that ZANU-PF helped the ANC, that should not be the issue, but it should be about the economy, poverty, and unemployment. Then number six, the ANC is at risk if the situation in Zimbabwe is not resolved. Number seven, South Africans are raising the issues of Zimbabweans who are in South Africa illegally, and those who are just the numbers of Zimbabweans in South Africa is concerning to locals. Number eight, the ANC will write to opposition parties through the embassy. So this is a key point. The ZANU-PF spokespersons said that there's no need for the ANC to meet the opposition. I'm going to play you that video, but this is what she said. The ANC embassy in Harare is going to write the people like the MDC, Simba Makoni, Jacob Ngarivume, probably also the American ambassador. They are going to write them and they are going to meet with them, not with the permission of ZANU-PF. This is not a request. This is a demand. So this demand is going to be met, and it's going to be met through the embassy. So these people are going to receive letters. Number nine, no one can stop the ANC from coming back to Zimbabwe to meet the opposition. I'm going to play you this video, this audio. You're going to hear saying that herself. So the ANC wants to meet everyone so that they can get a full understanding of the situation. So I'm going to just stop sharing this page for a while. And what I want to do is I want to go to the first video that I want to play for you. And I hope that this goes well.
The issues of migration and the number of Zimbabweans who are crossing the border when the border is open, and those who are crossing illegally, the challenges of our own people here raising issues, I'm talking about our own South Africans raising the issues that, you know, there are Zimbabweans who are here, some of them are illegal, there are certain things that are happening.
Right. So you clearly heard Lindiwe Zulu. She said South Africans are complaining about the large number of Zimbabweans who are here in South Africa, and they are raising this issue. Then I want to play you the second video, which is about meeting the MDC Alliance and other opposition parties.
We agreed also that we have to come back to meet with the other political parties, and there is nobody stopping us from that. Even yesterday at the press briefing, our FG did indicate to the press when they were asking him that we are going to go back to meet with the different political parties or other role players that are there. And as it is, we already have people that have sent requests to the embassy. We confirmed to the embassy that we will write back to those that are wanting to have meetings with us. We will meet with them, because if we are to appreciate and understand of today, it's not to say we actually don't know, because Bonnie, let's talk about it. We've been engaged in this for a very...
Right. So the second clip that I played you is the one where Lindiwe Zulu says the ANC is going to come back and meet the opposition parties, and no one is going to stop them. So it's not a request. But I want to show you what the ZANU-PF spokesperson said, and I'll quickly share my screen. Forgive me if there's a delay here, because I am now on the internet where I'm looking for this video. So here is Mbengegwi.
Friendly and sisterly organization only come to the help of each other on invitation. We help each other on invitation. We enjoy sovereign equality, both as political parties and as nations. Therefore, no party, especially a sister party, can impose itself on another sister party. It is common knowledge that some individuals in our sister party, the ANC, have been made to believe that there was a crisis in Zimbabwe. We are not sure how they became convinced of that, but some of them came here with that notion. However, in our meeting, which lasted the whole day, the notion of a crisis in Zimbabwe was quickly dismissed, and both sides agreed that there was no crisis in Zimbabwe. Both sides agreed that yes, there were challenges, but these challenges were not unique to Zimbabwe. Both Zimbabwe and South Africa faced challenges. And to want to classify challenges as a crisis would be wrong. And we agreed on that. Once we agreed on that, that there was no crisis in Zimbabwe, there were challenges, we spent most of the day discussing the challenges that faced both South Africa and Zimbabwe, and how we as former liberation movements can work together and cooperate in order to overcome these challenges as neighbors, as sister parties. That's how we spent most of our time. In fact, no time was spent at all on discussing crisis, because it was quickly agreed that does not exist. Therefore, the question of a sister party coming to the country of another sister party to establish bilateral relations with the opposition parties is unheard of.
Right, so I'm going to stop playing the video at that point. You can see that there is an obvious disagreement between ZANU-PF and ANC on what should happen. And I want to quickly look at what is causing this issue, because the issues are different. Zimbabweans think the ANC is concerned about human rights in Zimbabwe. That is not correct. The ANC is not concerned about human rights in Zimbabwe. In fact, the ANC wants illegal Zimbabweans to go back to Zimbabwe. And let me go back a little bit, and I'll give you what the ANC has been doing. The ANC has been getting cheap labor from Zimbabwe, and they've been doing this formally. So they have a number of programs that they set up. So the first program that the ANC government set up was the quota work permits. So around 2005, they created formal work permits for skilled Zimbabweans to come to work in South Africa. So a lot of Zimbabweans went and worked in South Africa. Then around 2010, the South African government had an amnesty. If you were in South Africa illegally, you could just go and they'll give you a permit. And this was for unskilled labor for the World Cup. They wanted builders, they wanted people who were going to work and clean in hotels. So they had a second program of amnesty, which allowed Zimbabweans to come here. And these are unskilled Zimbabweans. Then South Africa has an asylum seeker program. So if you're just a Zimbabwean and you come here and you don't have a reason to be here, you can just go and apply for asylum. So there were 3 programs which got Zimbabweans here between 2005 to 2020, now where we are. And then in 1994, there was a program, this program was called, I think, an exemption for SADC, which allowed Zimbabweans who had business skills to come here and work in senior positions. So for a lot of Zimbabweans who are directors, who are actually South African, they were naturalized immediately in 1994. So there was a formal program of bringing Zimbabweans here. But the ANC now wants to organically send Zimbabweans back home. So they don't want to create a program for sending Zimbabweans back home, especially the people who got these permits. Because when they got these permits in 2010, they were extended, but then I think they stopped the extension, which means we now have a lot of Zimbabweans who are working low-level jobs, and they are competing with locals. South Africa unemployment is very high. Currently, the unemployment in South Africa is sitting at around 40%. And it's bad. People don't have anything to eat, and most people are struggling. So the ANC wants these people back in Zimbabwe. However, Zimbabweans are desperate. If you go to a place called Midrand in the afternoons, there is no less than 500 girls standing there just waiting for someone to say, can I clean your house? And most of them don't have anything to eat. They're here illegally. The South Africans cannot afford to send them back home because there are just too many. Similarly, if you go to any place where there's construction going on, it's Zimbabweans who are there. So Zimbabweans are here, and there are many. Maybe, if I'm not mistaken, between 4 million and 6 million. And the ANC wants these people to go back home, but they don't want to create a formal process. They don't want to go out and say, if you're Zimbabwean and you're illegal in South Africa, you must go home. This is why they're now going and trying to start the processes they're doing in Zimbabwe. They're not about human rights, because the human rights situation in Zimbabwe is not as bad as what people are saying. There is a political crisis. The human rights crisis in Zimbabwe that we have is not to the level that the ANC would go twice in a month to try and fix the problem. So the point that I wanted to make, the key point that I wanted to make, is that this is not about human rights. This is about getting Zimbabweans to leave, especially Zimbabweans who are here illegally. Then I also want to conclude by saying, if this is allowed to continue and it's taken up by ordinary South Africans, this will get out of hand. So ZANU-PF has to deal with this situation when it's only being dealt with by the ANC. The moment this goes to the public and South Africans start thinking, okay, these Zimbabweans are the problem here, it will be chaos, because then you will lose control of the situation. So ZANU-PF needs to stop what they're doing now, which is to provoke the ANC with their statements, and they need to cooperate. They need to talk to them and find a solution. Right, so this is what I wanted to say. I talked more and longer than I wanted to talk. I am now on 15 minutes, and tomorrow is my birthday, so I don't want to spend the whole night online. So let me look at the comments here. Limkani Jov says, how do you distinguish a political crisis from a human rights crisis? Right, a human rights crisis and the political crisis are different. So I'm answering Limukani here. They are different because when you are talking of a political crisis, it's something that is a fight between two politicians. So you don't see ZANU-PF supporters and MDC supporters fighting each other, or ZANU-PF supporters going to en masse kill MDC supporters. So if that was to happen, and if ZANU-PF had a program to eliminate people like Chamisa, they would not be in Zimbabwe. So that would be a human rights crisis if that was happening. So what we have at the moment is disagreements which need to be sorted through a dialogue, which is what Nelson Chamisa is saying. We need to sit down and come up with a dialogue. And that is why it is a political crisis. I hope you answered there, Limukani. And then Moses Mapanzo says Zimbabwe is not a province of South Africa. And I want to say you are wrong, because Zimbabwe has 16 million. If you have got 6 million people in South Africa, then you are a province of South Africa. If you're buying everything from South Africa, you're a province of South Africa. And if everyone who is working in South Africa sends their money back to Zimbabwe, then if they are stopped, you can stop immediately from faction. I want to quickly look at any other comments here. And then, right, I think this is the last and most important question. Joseph Samanyara, he says, if they meet up with the opposing parties, then what? And I think it's an important question. And this is something that Chamisa and his people need to answer. Because I want to emphasize that I believe that this is between Chamisa and Mnangagwa. So Chamisa needs to understand that if he meets up, or the ANC meets up with him, they can't conclude. They still have to go to Mnangagwa to discuss. So that is an important question. And I still go back to my question of why Chamisa cannot send his representatives to Poland to kickstart the discussions. And I think let's end it at this point, and we'll continue to discuss tomorrow about this topic. And as I said, I need to end this discussion now. So thank you very much for everyone who's watching. The guys who are watching on YouTube and Facebook, who are live on both platforms. And I really appreciate you joining me to discuss this issue. And I'll be back tomorrow. We'll try to have a different guest. And I think tomorrow I'm trying to bring my brother, Dr. Clarence. We want to talk a bit more and see what his opinions are with regards to this delegation. So I hope that he manages to join me tomorrow. Same time, around 9 p.m. That's when I do my lives. Thank you very much for watching. And please like, comment, and share. And if you receive this on WhatsApp, please send it to as many people as possible.